Stand for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. This is Monday, March 7th. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, come up to the microphone. State your name, your address, and tell us what's on your mind. Would you call the roll, please?
Cedar?
Here.
Kinsfater?
Here.
Kleeman?
Here.
Stufa?
Here.
Laporte?
Here.
Hall?
Here.
Volz?
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
Thank you. I have a couple of changes for the agenda tonight, to additions. Under new business, we're going to create a new A. It's going to be Fishback's 2022 Drinking Water Revolving Fund Project Plan. Dave Barr will be with us from Fishback. And I'll need a motion to do that.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then I'll also need to have a motion to create a new number 12 for a closed session regarding a legal opinion to confer with our counsel.
So moved.
Supported.
Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's two changes. A new A, everything else moves back one letter, and then a new number 12 closed session. All right, let's go to consent agenda number 40. City Council minutes of February 21st, 2022, regular meeting recommendation approved. Beeves, the Harbor Commission minutes of November 8th, 2021, meeting recommendation received. And C, Board of Cemetery Trustees minutes, November 15th, 2021, recommendation received.
Motion to approve A through C as presented.
Support.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nothing under number 5. Number 6, Mr. Roth, you got anything?
Yes, several project updates this evening. First, we are pursuing a DNR Waterways grant application this year to do some additional engineering studies and investigations at the harbor, specifically the Rotary Park area. While you haven't seen, me and the Harbor Commission have reviewed the draft of Avonmark's report of the conditional assessment at the seawall, things like that. They've identified a few other investigations to do, including a dive inspection, for example, to verify the conditions of the seawall. We are going to put a grant application together, which if we're awarded, we would be able to complete the investigations to apply for next year's, it's called the BIG grant, Boating Infrastructure Grant. That's a grant that pays 75% of project costs, so it's definitely the most, attractive funding source we have for doing work there. So just wanted to say that the final report from Avonmark is coming. We should have it by the end of the week. I'll share it with council. And again, we're going to move forward with preparing for the grant application for additional investigative work. Additionally, our Kearney Drive resurfacing project, we're going to put that out to bid the week of March 21st. Bid opening in April. Contract award is anticipated. Second council meeting in April. We plan on starting construction in May of 2022, or as soon as the weather improves. Fredmore Highway reconstruction, another major project. Bid will go out first week of April. We have to follow MDOT's bid schedule, so it's a little bit different because they're giving us federal pass-through funds. This project we would propose for later in summer after the 4th of July, finish Kearney first before moving on to Fredmore. The Fredmore Highway water main, Piper Zach got the materials they needed last week. Work is expected to start on that within 1 to 2 weeks. 2 weeks to complete that project. As soon as that water main is done, then Murray will come in and do the Kearney-Jackson water main. 10th Street, the reconstruction design's going well. Again, bid opening scheduled week of April 11th. And then probably second council meeting, or April, first council meeting in May, we'll be awarding that bid. We also have a few streets for resurfacing. Up in the Meldrum Circle area, we're working on speccing those out right now so we can put those out to bid soon. Lots of infrastructure projects. Additionally, this isn't a city project, but want to make everybody aware that beginning the week of March 14th, DTE is going to be out beginning work in the Plaza parking lot. This is an endeavor of the Community Foundation with some other local partners to do new lights and also do an entire new parking lot. So that project's going to be underway in the middle of March. Very excited to see that move forward. Again, just want to tell everybody what's coming down the pipeline. That's all I have for projects this evening. Happy to take any other questions? If not, that concludes my report.
I got
Warren?
a quick question. Where are we at with the capital improvement schedule?
So we've been working on that, and with the budget this year, we want to present the budget and the capital improvement schedule together with council. So probably have a series of workshops to go over the budget and then go over the capital improvement plan as part of that.
Anybody else? All right, let's go to B. Mr. Downey, what you got?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Anything for Mr. Downey? City departments. All right, any authorities, boards, commissions, committee chairs, council reps? All right, we have no unfinished business. Let's get right into 8A. This is the 2022 Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Program. Dave Barr from Fishbeck, I believe, is going to join us via Zoom.
All right, Dave, let's do another sound check real quick.
Yep, can you hear me okay, Warren?
Yes, we're all good. So I'll kick this off real quick, and then I'll let Dave continue. Last year, the city applied for a loan through the state of Michigan's Drinking Water Revolving Fund Program for the $10 million project at the time for the water treatment plant improvements. This was something that we hired Fishbeck to investigate the water plant, identify deficiencies, both that were identified by Eagle, as well as the operator concerns at the time. We were unsuccessful in getting a loan last year. Interest and competition was very steep. There was only about $250 million available in funding, and they had about $800 million in requests. That was last year. We expect the same scenario to happen this year. However, we've identified numerous ways we can increase our score. For example, we've already approved one of those things, which is the surface water intake protection plan. That's an additional 100 points. This evening, though, Dave's going to talk about the need to prepare a new project plan as well, because it's part of the requirements to apply for this loan, but also talk about how we're going to be including a water main aspect as well as restoring our plant to a 3 MGD, 4 MGD facility, because in fall we were downgraded from a 3 million gallon a day plant to a 2 million gallon a day plant. So we do need to do this project with Fishbeck in order to apply for the loan and get funding this year. We have identified ways of increasing our score. And with that, I will turn it over to Dave to present, and we can ask him or myself questions when he's finished.
Yep. Thanks, Warren. Thanks, everybody, for your attention tonight. So we are proposing to do a new DWSRF project plan for 2022. A lot of the information in the plan that we did in 2021 is still usable, but there's more to be added to that. And the biggest factors there are a few new projects that we're looking to add to the project plan, both because they're needs for the city and also because they'll get us some more points through this award program. Warren mentioned the water main project, so up near the industrial park. We're looking at a couple different options for some water main looping that would improve fire flows and pressures for that whole area. So we've got one project that we think is probably the one to do. We're doing some investigation of how it ties into the township and how that would relate to some of the metering stations. So the city submitted an intent to apply for the DWSRF program a few weeks ago. That included this project and the others that we'll talk about today. That intent to apply is basically a letter that you submit to the state saying, we're planning to do a project plan. Here's about what it's going to include. And as we develop that project plan, we develop the details of what goes into the various projects. A little bit of comparison on scoring. So last year, the kind of the cutoff for fundable projects was right around 400, somewhere between 400 and 420. As Warren mentioned, there was about 800 million in projects applied for, only 250 million in funding available. This year, there's also 250 million in funding available. at this point, we're understanding there's about 1.1 or 1.2 billion being applied for. So about a little bit less than a quarter of what's applied for is going to get funded. Unfortunately, there's a lot of need for water projects in the state, and not the loans to go along with them at this point. So it will be even a little bit more competitive this year. But we think we've identified enough new projects that will get us more points where we're still going to be in the mix. So I kind of went through just a quick initial estimate. If we looked at where we were last year and then added 100 points for that SWIP program, the Source Water Protection Program, if we added 75 points for the water main project, and then there's also potential to get another 25 points for a capacity project. But if we add all those up together, we get 480. So our feeling is that if the cutoff level is similar to what was last year, then we think we ought to be in the mix for funding this year. No guarantees as to how things will shake out with scoring and on our project and the others, but we feel reasonably confident that we'll be in line for funding this year. I did mention that capacity project, and Warren mentioned it as well. So last year when Eagle did your sanitary survey on the plant, they did downgrade the plant capacity from 3 to 2 MGD. That was something that when we did our study the year prior identified as something that might happen. The city was aware that might happen, and then it did. So basically, to restore your plant to the capacity that was before it was downgraded, we need to do some improvements. What made the most sense project-wise and looking at your growth and long-term planning was to add a filter that would actually get us up to 4 MGD capacity. So not only does it restore your 3, but it gets you more for the future. And that should be worth an additional somewhere between 25 and 50 points. The schedule for the project, we're actually kind of behind on starting at this point. We could still meet the project timeline, but basically the project plan is due to be complete July 1. There's a fairly extensive public engagement process that goes ahead of that, and there's some submittal times. You got to submit your project plan 30 days before that public participation period. So basically that backs us up about 2 months from that July date to around May 1 when the project plan has to be submitted. And there's some drafts and some review periods with Eagle that go ahead of that. So we can get it done by that time period, but probably got to get started right away to be able to do that.
This is a similar schedule that we had last year with the implementation of the hiring Fishback, and then we were able to go through the public review process and submit everything on time. We have already started our SWIP plan. We started that earlier, so we can make sure that meets the deadline so we can get those 100 points as well. If you want to make a comment about that.
Yep.
So, Dave, you're saying that this year it looks like we'll have like 480 points?
That's what we're hoping. If everything gets accepted and counted the way that we think it will. We kind of know how they score things. They shared some of the information of how things were scored last year, and looking at those categories, it looks like we should add somewhere on the order of 200 points over where we were last year.
And last year's cutoff was like 400 and 420 or something like that?
Yeah, so there were kind of 2 different tiers of cutoff. One was for funding general, and I think the other was for rent service. And one of those cutoffs was 400, the other was like 415, 420. So if you got above that 420 range, I think we'd be in good shape.
The cities that didn't get the grants last year, are they doing the same thing we're doing though? Doing everything they can to raise their scores?
Yeah, a lot of those cities are doing the same thing. So there were some cities that didn't get funding last year, that will be applying again. And that's all part of that 1.1, 1.2 billion that you mentioned. So all those cities have already submitted their intent to apply letters, and EGLE has a list of the candidates at this point.
I want to make another comment too on why are we pursuing this program. We're pursuing this program because of the attractive interest rates. We're talking about a $10, $11 million project. When you borrow for that and pay for it over 20, 30 years, the state of Michigan, last year's interest rates, which they say will be roughly this year's, is about 2.1% interest rate for a 20-year bond, I believe. So if we're going to go out on the private market, let's not jump through all the state's hoops to get this low interest loan. I got to imagine that we'd be looking at an interest rate at least double that, perhaps even triple. In today's market, it's really hard to tell. So we were unsuccessful last year. Our recommendation is to pursue it one more time this year, try and go for that 2%, low interest, because the savings of the 2% versus like a 4%, more than cover any costs we have to incur, preparing these complex reports and application materials. So again, we might be unsuccessful this year. We might have to go out and get at a much higher interest rate. But I think we learned from last year. We've identified a way to increase the score. It's worth us trying again this year. I wish I could say we're going to get the loan. I don't know. But as of now, this is the best we can do to try and get the lowest cost possible, not just for today's, ratepayers and residents, but, residents 10, 15 years in the future.
I would be remiss, Dave, if I didn't ask you this. So is there anybody on your staff that not specializes, but really has a grip on if there's such a thing as grants for this kind of thing, or there just aren't grants?
Right now, I mean, there aren't grant programs out there that are available at anything substantial. The few programs that we're familiar with and that our grant people are most familiar with are the state DWSRF and CWSRF programs. There's also grants available through USDA through their Rural Development Program. That's another potential option as well. But those are really the two big grant programs in Michigan, loan programs in Michigan.
So you covered where the cutoff was last year, 400, 420. Did you cover where the meat of the approvals were and what the higher end scores were to give us a feeling of where our 450, 460, 480 might be?
Yeah, let me see if I can find that info here.
I think very few projects scored over 500, but Dave can pull that up. And there's a lot of different factors in scoring, like some of it's population based. So obviously, the biggest cities, they're going to be able to get a larger population score. We're stuck in that, and obviously, if you have health issues with your water, you probably get like 150 points just which we don't have. So again, it's the maximum score is 1,000, but last year, the top score was somewhere in the 500.
690 was the last score, or the top score last year. The first page, which goes through about project 14 out of 100, that was 490 was on the first page. If we were to get something like 450 to 480, last year that would have put us in the top 20 projects, and there were approximately 50 that got funded last year. And there's a lot in the low 400s, so that's really what we're trying to jump over with some of these additional projects, is ones in the low 400s.
Thank
and
you.
presumably, everybody, a lot of people this year are going to come with more points and more of the things that we're doing too. So see it being a little bit more competitive as well.
Anybody else have any questions for Dave or Warren? All right, thank you. Good luck. Whoa. That's what I'm saying, good luck to. All right, so,
So you're looking for a motion for approval of the professional services from Fishbeck?
yes, sir.
I'll make that motion. Support.
All right, the motion based for any questions?
21,800.
I was just looking at, thank you. Coming out of the water fund, Warren?
All right, call the roll, please.
Kinsfater?
Yeah.
Seaman?
Yes.
Guffa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
Hall?
Yes.
Foltz?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. All right, thanks, Dave.
Get us in there, Dave.
Thank you, you're welcome.
All right, we will go to B, the old A. Approve public infrastructure agreement with Corcat Properties. Mr. Wilson, are you?
Yes, Your Honor and members of the City Council, this action item is a public infrastructure agreement. When Corcat Properties applied for the site plan for the Woodland Estates Phases 3 through 5 condominium development project, which was last spring, as part of the Planning Commission's recommendation and carried forward and incorporated in the City Council's approval was the condition that a public infrastructure agreement be created that would basically govern the construction of all the public utilities, the water mains, the sewer lines, the road, really just as an insurance policy to ensure that these things are constructed according to city specifications. They're inspected by the engineer who reviews, that for compliance, as well as includes a financial guarantee. So if something was to happen and the development was not finished or the road, it wasn't built correctly, the city would have access to that financial guarantee that would allow that work to be created, at no additional cost to the city. Attorney Downey and AEW worked a lot with me preparing this agreement. Corcat Properties has agreed to all the terms. They've signed the agreements. They actually were hoping to give me their escrow check last week. I said, please wait until council approves this, but they're ready to begin construction tomorrow, in fact, on the sewer main. And I believe this is a fair agreement that protects both parties. And again, be happy to answer any other questions you may have, or Attorney Downey as well.
Warren, it states in here a financial guarantee. How much is that? What is that?
So as written, it'll be a bond, or it could be an irrevocable bank letter of credit. And it's in the 100% of the total project cost, as agreed upon by the city engineer and Corcat Properties. I believe right now our estimate for project cost is just over $2 million, so it's going to be a bond in about that range. And then once the compressed project conditions are satisfied, that bond is then, released by the city. But
So this totally covers us. We don't end up in the same mess as we were with the other half.
absolutely,
of this project.
yes. So there's actually two bonds. There's one for construction, which is 100% of the project costs. And then once that one's released for the first 2 years, there is what I'm essentially saying is a maintenance and guarantee bond. That might not be the exact terminology, but that's 40% of the total project costs to cover any maintenance or of the public infrastructure improvements during the first 2 years following completion of construction.
And is this going to be a template for future projects?
We don't have much land left to develop this way, but absolutely, I think it's been a really good endeavor, and I think it's a really smart thing to have in place.
I make a motion to approve.
I got a question, Warren. When this is all done and over, is the city gonna take ownership of, I presume, of the roads, the sewers, and the water?
Yes.
It's all gonna become city?
Yep.
My question is, it states in there that the streetlights, create a special assessment. Got my glasses. To fund the cost of operating streetlights. Is that common to create the city's gonna own the streetlights eventually, right? we create a special assessment to basically run the streetlights, or will we supply them in the rest of the city for, obviously, I mean, with your tax dollars, you can do streetlights, but
Yes, this is a new to St. Clair, not new to local government approach in doing streetlights. You know, we are going to have increased costs to maintain and operate these lights in the future. And the agreements, you know, we propose being able to establish a special assessment district. So again, you know, the electric costs would essentially be spread over all of the property owners in here, and the city would, you know, essentially experience no cost increase to do that. Again, that was something we proposed, and CoreCat Properties found to be an acceptable term.
How would you determine the cost through the Edison, and what a streetlight's gonna cost you to run, or?
In part, yes. I've seen engineers prepare these types of special assessment roles. It does take into account, you know, illumination and other standards given by the supplying utility company, and then it does some sort of formulaic, you know, how much does each property, you know, gain from the illumination.
I'm just curious why we're charging them people for streetlights when everybody else in the city is included in their property tax value, you know, that's my question. I mean, that's all I wonder, why, you know, why charge these people for streetlights that everybody else in the city, you know, they get it through the property tax.
Sure.
Anybody else?
I think, is there a motion?
Yes.
He made a motion. It was supported?
Was it supported?
It was not
Oh, I
supported.
thought it was.
I'll support it.
All right, the motion is made and supported to enter into the public infrastructure agreement with CoreCat Properties. Questions? All right, call the roll, please.
Lehman,
Yes.
Koopa,
Yes.
Laporte,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Foltz,
Yes.
Kinsfater.
Yes.
Cedar,
Yes.
carried, Your Honor.
Thank you. We'll go to C. Special events permit, St. Clair Marble Eye Classic Walleye Tournament. Ms. Sturdy, that's you.
Yes, on behalf of Chief Raker, there are 2 special event permits for your consideration tonight. All the documents have been received. Everything is in compliance. The first event to consider is the St. Clair River Marble Eye Classic Annual Walleye Fishing Tournament, which will be held May 20th through the 22nd.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go to D, special event, American Legion Post 382 Memorial Day Parade and presentation.
Yes, the second event for your consideration, again, all documents have been received, everything's in compliance, is the annual Memorial Day Parade and presentation by the American Legion Post 382 to be held on Monday, May 30th.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? E, Board of Commissions, with your approval, I would ask to appoint Candace Nagel for a 5-year term expiring June 30th, 2023 to the Housing Commission.
So moved.
Support.
Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Are you Candace? Congratulations. Best of luck to you. Thank you. We appreciate that. Well, number 9, claims and accounts, March 3rd, 2022.
Hearing no questions, Your Honor, I make a motion to approve as presented.
Support.
Questions? In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Order number 10, public comment, public questions, 3 minutes. Any non-agenda items, information on people's minds tonight, anything?
You received a letter, you and Warren, regarding the theater. Do you mind if I read it? Out loud?
Go ahead.
Okay. Does all of the council get it, or did they receive that letter?
No.
So what this is regards to is, and I apologize because Tom and Kathy Burton are not here. They're out of town right now, so they sent me, not really my thing, but whatever, I'll fill in. Regarding the theater permitting and the fact that the building is a nonprofit and they're trying to raise money throughout the community, throughout the county. The county has put in substantial amounts. A lot of current residents and past residents have put in substantial amounts of money for the theater project. We met with the mayor and also with Warren as well, and asked if the permits fees for the building itself could be waived, approximately $24,000 roughly, as the city's contribution to the project. So I would like to read a letter if I could. This was from Mrs. Verton. Gentlemen, as you know, Riverbank Theater is expanding into St. Clair and plans to invest significantly to build a 350-seat performing arts venue in the plaza parking lot. We were exploring this option when you stated repeatedly you would roll out the red carpet and do anything you could to help make this a reality. As a nonprofit, we have had to rely on generous funding from a variety of sources within the community, including the Community Foundation, the EDA, numerous businesses, contractors, and individuals who currently or formerly have lived in or around the city of St. Clair. We have raised $2.6 million in commitment towards the $3 million goal. Sadly, that goal is creeping up slightly due to the current state of inflation. The last thing we want is to have another partially funded, completed structure in the downtown, which will not let that happen. And we are working tirelessly to raise the funds to keep this project on track. Therefore, we are asking the city to participate in supporting the venture by waiving $23,310 in permit fees. Your assistance is greatly appreciated and will be rewarded by the economic impact this project is slated to have in the community overall. Sincerely, Kathy Burton. So for your consideration, we would appreciate it. I know that obviously the theater project would appreciate it. Obviously, not only inflation, but material costs are through the roof, and we're just trying to get that building finished, and that's our goal. So everybody's putting in as much as we can, and we're asking the city to do the same. So thanks.
Thank you, Dan. Dan. Any other public comments, public questions? All right, we'll go to number 11. I have no announcement. Anybody have anything? All right, then I will ask for someone to put forth a motion to go into closed session to confer with counsel regarding a legal opinion.
So moved.
Support.
Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Kufa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Volz?
Yes.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
Sleeman?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Carrie Drown.
We're going to do the closed session out here, so I'm going to have to ask you guys to leave, and then if you want to set up in the lobby, come up and check at the end. I don't know if we'll take action after this or not. I'm not sure, but we'll come up and look and see if anybody's up there. We'll invite you back down. If not, thank you very much for coming. Be careful out there. Be safe. Good luck with everything.